Hello and welcome to the Healthy Half Hour podcast. We're your hosts, Richard and Karen Inslee.
Our goal with the Healthy Half Hour podcast is to be a resource in your toolbox for all things diet, exercise and healthy lifestyle related.
We'll be sharing our personal insights and experiences alongside research gathered from working in the health and fitness industry for over the last 12 years.
The show is brought to you by Sunnyside Honey Pot, all things honey related. So if you want to check out things that we make from our bees, their wax and their honey, you go to sunnysidehoneypot.com, and also please feel free to visit the healthyhalfhourpodcast.com as well.
And without further ado, let's get on to today's show.
So we're back at it, and we are a little bit late.
Late for what?
Well, we missed a week, didn't we?
I don't think anybody will notice.
No.
In the greater scheme of things.
Yeah. But we said that, like with summertime, with our garden and everything else taking over.
Well, it's been a little crazy. I mean, we actually managed to get everything in last weekend. So woohoo! All the tomatoes and the peppers, even though we lost a few from the frost, unexpected frost. Well, I say unexpected living here. The frost that we had the week before, we lost a bit of stuff. But the beans are coming through, and the carrots and the beets and all the potatoes. And then we had a ton of rain yesterday, and that really helped things along, so everything's sprouting now. So yes, we're on the up and up, but no, I don't know, things are slowly opening up here, and I mean, people are slowly coming out of the woodwork with regard to my business for sure, and it's coming around. But now I'm coming into the point of slowing down for summer. I saw someone today and they said, oh yeah, we've got one more and then we'll see you again in September. So kind of as it builds up, it drops off again. So we've now got my slower months to ride out a little bit. But like you say, we've been doing other things and making $1 elsewhere. So I mean, we'll plod along and
$8 is about right.
And we'll do a little less than normal. We normally go on our camping trip through the sea in the summertime, and we'll probably negate that this time around, because like I said to my mum the other day, I'm gonna have a vacation from doing nothing, staying at home. So I mean, it's nice to go away. We'll probably have a couple of day trips somewhere or do something, but I don't think we'll
do some day trips, I guess, more than anything, and just get out and about, and like I say, just not go away though this year. And it just, I don't know, it's just like you say, what are we actually getting away from? Like, not a lot.
No, so we've got a new nucleus of bees last weekend, which is exciting. So we've got a new hive on the go, and
Cleopatra
is the new queen, apparently.
Yes. Yeah,
was
Cleopatra.
named. So yes, they seem to be doing okay, and they seem to settle in. And I had a look in there yesterday, and
you've put the queen screen on Abigail's, and we're thinking of splitting her, aren't we?
Yeah, we're gonna go and see a friend this coming weekend. She's been into beekeeping for a few years more than us, and got into it a little deeper. So we're gonna go over and see what she's got and have a chat, and we may end up splitting the hive up. I was out there the other day. I mean, probably not the best beekeeping equipment on. I do have the hood and the net and the face, but I had a pair of shorts and sandals on. And I managed to get one trapped between the top strap of my sandal and my foot, and bless her, in a dying thing, she stung me, and my right foot then looked like I'd been come out the Shires on, what's the movie? Oh, and everybody's screaming at the thing now, saying, anyway.
Yeah, what is it? Bilbo Baggins?
Yes,
whatever that movie is. So you can obviously tell we go to the cinema a lot.
So I ended up with a big fat right foot, and put a picture on my Instagram, and most people OMG'd it, yeah. Oh. And I had a look at it, but...
I told you need to rub some of my body lotion on it, but you didn't.
I didn't, no.
No, but you put some on your hair, on your scalp, because you look like you got dandruff, and then... it just all disappeared.
It dissipated, that's true. But then again, it's maybe a little bit of skin drying out, because again, I haven't got a lot of hair, and the sun's super strong at the minute, so that's probably what the deal is. So, today, or this episode, is the 100th episode, and that's another reason why we've been not back for a little bit because we've been umming and ahhing what to do for the 100th episode. And with all the effort we put... Yeah, with all the effort we put into this, all we could come up with was basically going over the last 99 and just kind of, I don't know, we did one not long ago, basically called our core values, and I just kind of wanted to go over, again, what the podcasts we've done prior, all 99, and just kind of re-cementing kind of our message a bit. And
don't go back to the first few episodes because we sound like Agnes. Like,
you always sound like Agnes. Oh, no.
I would like really, really wooden, sort of like, she kisses my boo-boo, she braids my hair. Like,
and plus also, I've kind of moved on with the editing and production of it since then too. A little bit better, I hope. But we all started off again on August the 8th in 2017, and we just decided that obviously to get our message across maybe to a wider audience. So we went from 4 to 6. So just to kind of get it out there.
I think we're in double numbers now.
Let people know a bit more about, again, what we do. So, I mean, as with everything, we were straight out the gate and we were all over kind of diet and metabolism and that lot. And for the first kind of 20 plus episodes, we kind of stuck at more nutrition and stuff with a few lifestyle things thrown in there. And I mean, we did a whole series, I think, episodes 4, 5 and 6 were actually on the reasons why you're not losing weight. And I mean, it took us kind of that many episodes to put it out there. It was kind of an hour and a half. We just banged on and on and on. And I mean, a lot of those things are still relevant today. I mean, some things, again, we've changed our tune over for over the last 3 years or so, again, as we read more and we research more, and we went into stress a little bit in episodes 11 and 12, and again we split that one up into kind of looking about stress and what actually stress was. And again, I think our core message about stress has been the same all the way through. It's you're not going to eliminate it, but the more
manage it, learn your triggers, and don't try to avoid stress, because like you say, I mean, you're never going to get rid of it completely, but instead of avoiding it, just get good at it. And we've said all along, getting good at stress means, like you say, recognizing those triggers, learning what management techniques work for you, and then like trusting yourself, basically, that you can handle the stress as it comes along, because you've actually, like I always say, instead of thinking outside the box, basically make the toolbox bigger. So if you've got more tools and resources to use out of that nutrition and lifestyle box, then you've got more tools to draw from, and you might find one stressful event, you'll use one set of resources, then another stressful event, you might use something completely different. But we just try to give people as many options as possible, I guess, don't we?
Oh, definitely. And that's, again, that's our common theme too with diet. I mean, yes, we talk about the keto diet a lot, and it does work for some, but we've talked about the vegetarian diet, we've talked about paleo and just the regular standard diet. And so again, we've talked about a lot of different diets, and again, our common thread, which we've said through all of them, is do what works best for you, do what works best for your body, but also do what works best for your lifestyle. So if you've got 3 kids, you're at home, you'll be doing a different one to maybe if you've got a corporate job and you're having to take people out to lunch every day or 3 or 4 days a week, and in the evening time you've got functions to go to. So your diet wouldn't be the same as somebody that's home with 3 kids. And trying to both read the same diet book and both follow the same diet is so counterproductive, because either one or both of you is going to fail at it, because again, it doesn't suit what you're doing.
And our core values all the way through is like whole foods. So whatever your circumstances, family or corporate, I mean, you had a client a few years ago and she was one of those ones that was expected to take clients out like multiple times a week. And here in Winnipeg, there's a restaurant called The Keg, and it's one of the better restaurants that if you want the restaurant and the staff to change a few things for you, or have just whole foods, you can, I mean, she got good are going in there, and they'd see her, they'd recognize her and go like, okay, yeah. So she'd just say like, okay, I want like boiled vegetables, steamed vegetables, I want plain proteins, and she managed it awesome, didn't she?
Yeah, she got 2 or 3 different places. She basically went in there and said, this is what I'm doing.
And she not didn't so much train the staff, but as soon as she went in, they'd recognise going like, okay, so she knew that she'd be able to like ask them for something, and they'd accommodate. But again, at least it was whole foods at the end of the day, wasn't it?
Yeah, and tying into that as well, it was less anxiety and stress, because if she was concerned about her weight, and she kind of wanted to lose a little bit of weight.
And she'd lost quite a bit, hadn't she?
Yeah,
she'd done awesome.
And wanted to continue on. So again, the anxiety of going somewhere and not knowing what's on the menu. I mean, most places have got the menus are online, so you can have a look. And again, now especially here, restaurants are opening up again. So kind of back into that swing of going out to those places. And again, less stress if you know what you're going to do when you get there, and less things to worry about. And again, we've discussed it in episodes about stress and digestion and how stress can affect digestion.
And one of the things, I was in the city this morning and I was driving out of town, and there's a big restaurant on Main Street, and I'm sat at the traffic lights looking at the restaurant, and it actually, like you just saying about like the stress of going to restaurants, and this, before you could even get through the front door, they had a table set up because obviously with the COVID-19 situation, the waitress had got a table set up with, I think, like a bowl with water, with hand towels, with sanitizer. And the stress of that, I guess, like not even letting you into the restaurant before you've gone through all that. And one of the things that I noticed as well that I felt personally for me was more of a stressor, or an added stress. It was the fact that they were all wearing the face mask, but the face masks were all black. And I don't know, it just, again, like black can come across as like a negative kind of visual. So it's, to me, that would just add like increased stress to some people. Like say, you couldn't even get through the door. And this was outside the restaurant. It wasn't even through the front door. It was almost on the sidewalk.
A little ominous looking, I guess. You'd think they'd have something flowery or something, a little more inviting, rather than looking like you're entering a horror movie.
Yeah, bright yellow or flowers on it.
So again, we've discussed things like cholesterol. We've discussed things like sugar. We've actually gone, into burning fat. We've discussed hormones quite deep in quite a lot of the episodes, and then we kind of I guess it was the summer of 2018, we went into kind of interviewing a few people again, because people were out and about, and we met with some friends who'd lost a load of weight, and then a friend of yours who was doing some stuff in town. She basically came for an interview. Actually, the first interview I did, I actually interviewed you, because again, we just went over the topics and subjects. You've forgotten all about that, haven't you?
I have, yeah. I can't remember you interviewing me.
Episode 36. So yeah, that was the kind of...
What did I say?
Lots of interesting stuff.
Oh, okay.
people will have to go back to the back catalogue now at the website and have a little look about that, or iTunes or whatever. Again, we've discussed lots of things to do with like motivation and keeping yourself on track, and again, people just being too hard on themselves, period, when it comes to being on track, because it's one of those things where, again, I had a client the other day message me, she's 40 in a couple of weeks, so, and her friend's birthday was this weekend, so they had a cake together, and she's messaging me, showing pictures of the cake, and oh my God, that's great, did you have a nice time? I don't care. I said, just don't eat it all. She says, no, I'm not going to. And I'm sending it home with my friend, what's left. I said, well, there you go. You've covered all your bases. You had a good time. You had a bit of cake. You sent it home. It wasn't kept behind. You didn't feel guilty, keep walking past it knowing it's in the fridge and everything.
And she'd obviously got strategies. She obviously come up with a strategy as to not have it in her own fridge, and she's got strategies and stuff to do so that she wasn't tempted. So that's awesome.
Well, that's the thing, and I mean, it's that temptation when it's in your way. And there's probably a podcast on that somewhere. I'm looking at the list of what we've done and can't quite come up with it. But some people, again, like us, you can put chocolate in the fridge and things like that. And I mean, people from the UK have bought us Cadbury's cream eggs, and they've sat in the fridge for months, and we just kind of chip away at them a little bit at a time. But some people, if it's there and they know it's there, they've got a kind of, especially that after meal craving, which again sometimes can be habit, sometimes can be you maybe just want that little bit of sweetness afterwards, and they can't resist it, and they just have to eat the lot, even though you kind of think you're satiated after your supper, and maybe you weren't. So one thing, again, I think I mentioned it earlier, is we mentioned sugar, but we also went into artificial sweeteners quite a lot too. And I mean, that's a minefield in itself. And one thing we, again, went into quite deep, because going back to the brain and stress, is the brain thinks when you've eaten an artificial sweetener that you've actually eaten something sweet. So the whole mechanisms in your body get swung into action even though you didn't. So sometimes they can be as much of a hindrance as they can of a help. And plus also you never kind of lose that sweet tooth, which you can not fully lose, but train yourself out of to a large degree. Because again, I have 85% dark chocolate because I've got a bit of a sweet tooth and Karen hasn't. And after supper, I like something sweet. Then I train myself to 85% dark chocolate. 5 years ago, I never would have touched the stuff because, I mean, it's bitter, but I think it's actually sweet now. And it's actually sweet to my tongue because, again, I just happen to retrain myself into that sort of mode of, that's how sweets. That's something feels sweet, and I've had sweets before at desserts, and I eat a little bit, but not as much as I would.
I know, and like when we'd ever go out for meals at restaurants, and we did mention this on podcasts, that, I mean, I'd eat my appetizer, my entree, and then you'd almost have to like force me to even have like a spoonful of dessert because like I just don't have that sweet tooth, and to me doesn't really interest me. But, and like say, going back to that artificial sweeteners, the physiological effect on the body is that it does trick your brain and your body that you are eating something sweet. So there are actual studies that have proven that diet sodas with artificial sweeteners actually cause people to gain weight, because when you have that artificial sugar, when your body realizes, hey, there's no actual sugar there, your body releases like insulin to like jump into action, and it's like, well, there's nothing for me to do. And so what does it do as a secondary role? It starts to store body fat because it goes, oh, well, there's nothing for me here to do. So like say, those artificial sweeteners are not necessarily going to, well, they won't like help you to lose weight. They can actually be counterproductive.
And one thing we have talked about a lot too is like exercise, because again, well, I'm a personal trainer and Karen's a fitness instructor, and people more often than not, oh, you must exercise 7 days a week. No, it's not necessary. Well, let's backpedal a little bit. If you were walking 7 days a week, great. But if you're thinking of like lifting heavy or doing like some higher intensity cardio, then 7 days a week isn't for you, because you don't actually ever give yourself enough time to recover. And that's what your body's looking for. It'll recover and make yourself a little bit stronger. So if you're killing yourself in the gym 5-6 days a week, your recovery is very truncated. And that recovery is, again, super important. And again, you're adding another stress, which is why we say, back to the stress thing again, is with exercise, don't kill yourself. I mean, you don't need to run marathons. I mean, if it's your thing and you really want to, then all power to you. But I mean, there's no real reason why we should run for more than an hour, really, because again, you're adding that extra stress to your body. And again, you look at aging marathon runners, and none of them look very healthy, because again, it's that prolonged stress of running. We've said just lift a little bit, do some high intensity stuff. So again, short bursts. We just did our first PLYOGA class last Wednesday. We videotaped it. I'll put the link in the show notes at the YouTube video if you want to see half an hour of us jumping up and down like a pair of crazy people. But again, it's, as we explain in the thing, people think plyo, it's all jumping and high energy, high pounding into the floor, when it isn't. You don't need to jump. And I mean, I did the exercises as per the kind of the program was written, and then Karen did the modifications by the side of me. the modifications is still a great workout, still a great exercise program. And a lot of the people said, yeah, we kind of went and did the modifications because we found the other one too intense. It's something you can build up to. Again, if you've got aching knees, you've got aching hips and aching ankles and stuff, no need to jump, but you can still get a plyometric workout just by kind of more of an explosion through the legs and then just keeping those feet attached to the floor.
And we wanted to demonstrate to people that, especially right now with the gyms are like they've been closed and like now they're starting to open again, but there's so many restrictions and sharing equipment. And the PLYOGA is like the only piece of equipment you need is your own body weight and obviously a mat. So that obviously
you don't have to have a mat.
Well, you don't have to, but if you're on a hard concrete floor, then it could be a little bit tough on the knees if you're doing modification like push-ups on your knees or something. But it's a great workout because, like say, there's like 3 different levels of intensity. You don't need any fancy equipment apart from your own body. But when it comes to exercise as well, like add variety in there. And we wanted to demonstrate the PLYOGA to some of our class participants, as well as like it's another modality. I mean, typically when I'm doing my regular schedule before obviously everything got shut down, I mean, on a Tuesday I would do my seniors Drums Alive class. We get out of breath with it. There's loads of like mobility and stretching and core and back work. It's all choreographed to music. So it's like lower intensity, but it does get your heart rate up, but it does give you a lot of stretching and like mobility through the hips and the core. And then on a Wednesday, I'd be teaching my class with one of our corporate clients. So I'd actually be doing the class with them. And again, like I'd always like change it up, and it involved like weights, so like some cardio, some strength and core, like it just absolutely everything. Then Saturdays I'd teach a class that's like choreographed and no cardio and just all weights and lots of volume. So it just helps to keep the body guessing all the time. So if you do the same thing all the time, one, you can get bored and get to the point where you don't want to do it anymore, but your body adapts very quickly. So then your body doesn't respond and you don't see any improvements.
And that's the other beauty of the, I guess the PLYOGA is you're attracting kind of those, not type A's, but people that like to do the bounding, people like to do the HIIT stuff and get out of breath and get really sweaty. But part of the class, especially the last 5 minutes, is yoga poses. So you actually get people to stretch at the end, because when you do a HIIT class, I mean, normally it's bang, bang, bang. Okay, thanks for coming, everybody. And everybody leaves. Don't forget to stretch at home, or you do a quick minute's worth of stretching at the class to hit the obvious areas. But a lot of the times, again, if you ask people to stay and stretch, they just disappear anyway. So the whole stretch yoga thing, again, just keep it to simple moves. And it's all part and built into the class. So you actually get a stretch as well as get a good sweaty workout. So again, that's why we kind of lent into that and kind of took the certification when we did. And it
was cheap.
And it was cheap. Just
it
like
was
that.
virtual.
So summer of 2019, going back to the podcast list, we actually took the microphone and the gear with us on our camping trip. So we did kind of a 2-parter really, but all in the same podcast. So we did one earlier in the week we were away, and one later in the week. Again, just kind of going over what food we took and how we cooked and blah, blah, blah. And we got some great feedback, especially on like the Facebook page, people commenting saying, yeah, just really nice, to hear what you do when you're out there. And we got some ideas from you and everything. So again, that just worked out really well too.
And people, especially over here, usually because obviously we do have such long winters and people get stir crazy, and then in summer they kind of go mad, and then you'll talk to people saying like, oh, I was eating all this junk food when I went camping. It's like, well, why did you take it with you? And we, like you say in this podcast from the summer of 2019, we just said anytime that we go camping, we don't eat any different to what we do at home. It's just some of the like cooking is a little bit more basic and takes us a little bit longer, because when you're on a gas camping stove.
I think we took a bag of corn chips.
I think we did.
Oh, we did. We made
nachos.
Out of it, and then we finished. Well, we were starting to finish the bag of corn chips off, and I think I tipped it upside down and put it in the fire at the end. I just got bored of eating corn chips. They were just, bland.
That was
once the nachos were done, it were bland and tasteless.
It was the extent of our straying outside the norm.
And then I did look at the calories on the packet. Okay.
Well, we didn't have a microwave with us to actually make our own homemade chips from the potatoes. So
you got what you got. But kind of again from the summer of last year up till now, we've just really tried to get into, again, some more of the mindset stuff. We've had 2 or 3 rant episodes where Karen's just gone off and lost it. But again, we just tried to tie stuff in over the last few months with some COVID stuff as well. But we kind of lent into the COVID for a couple of episodes and then kind of moved away from it a bit because people have been swamped with lots of stuff online about it and in the media and everything else. So again, we kind of went away from it a little bit just so we'd be a little bit of light relief instead of the same old.
And with regard to COVID, basically we're just trying to encourage people, especially from a mental health perspective, not to get into a bit of a funk and get off the couch, go and do something, get some fresh air and just move and just keep the brain active as well as the body. You don't have to be jumping around in super crazy fitness classes, but like you say, just keeping the mind active, I guess, And
just that stress reduction again, just trying to keep everything under the lid on everything and keep everything under control as much as you can. I mean, like I say, if you are stressed, then some stress busting strategies wouldn't go amiss. And like you say, we covered that in kind of episodes 92, 93. And again, asking, like you say, in 92, was it an opportunity in disguise? I mean, we were kind of pushed into a corner with, okay, you can't go out, you can't earn money, you can't do this. So we just did other things to earn money. I mean, not as much as, but certainly just keeps things ticking over. And then we're kind of trundled up to here we are today. So episode number 100 and... I don't know whether we'd ever thought we'd get to 100. I don't know whether we'll get to 200, but people.
Yes, we will.
People keep listening, and like we say, it took us 3 years. So, like we've said, if we've got nothing to say or nothing's popped up, then it'll maybe a couple of weeks between episodes, or maybe 3 weeks, depending. But there'll be another one. But some people, again, some of our stalkers on Facebook and Instagram do buggers about when there's a new one coming. And like I say, if you've got any suggestions on something that we've covered, and again, I'm just looking at my list and there's some things that have changed for sure that we're gonna recover over the next coming months with diet and fasting and other things. But if you've got something, any questions, because we should do another mishmash and another questions one too, because I'm sure there's a few floating around out there, and we'll plod along for another few years. So hopefully all this shenanigans outside the four corners of our house dissipate some more over the next coming weeks, and we can come back to some kind of normalcy. So until next time, we'll see you then.
That's all we have time for today, but we do hope that you join us on our next show. If you'd like to contribute to an upcoming episode with a topic, a question, or even if you'd like to be a guest on our show, then shoot us an email to questions@healthyhalfhourpodcast.com, or you can actually leave us a message on our Facebook or Instagram pages. The Healthy Half Hour Podcast was brought to you by Sunnyside Honey Pot and 7dayshred.com. If you like the show, tell your friends, and if you didn't, tell us and we'll work on it for you. Thanks again for listening.